Father bless, I happen to live in a part of the U.S. where the mass immigration is particularly obvious. We got 8 minutes, folks, and then we're going to go to the question and answer session. I hope you can join us. I find the results of this infuriating. How do I handle this appropriately as an Orthodox man? Well, it's transparent to everyone that very sinister forces are at work, not just to destroy the United States, but this has been happening in Europe for 15 years. In Greece, we have the same phenomenon of, hundreds of thousands, if not probably a million and a half. I don't know what it's up to. This little tiny 10 million strong Greece is now from a variety of countries, mostly Pakistan, Iraq, Turkey, other places. And it's intentional. It's absolutely organized and intentional to bring them there and to destabilize and more easily control the countries they're going to. It seems pretty obvious to everybody in Greece. I've never heard anybody say, "Oh, this is, whatever." Now, how should we act? That's your question. We can't control, can we? I mean, can we control what they're going to do? It doesn't look like it. We're trying. I mean, people are trying to turn back the tide. God bless them, but it doesn't look like at this point we individually can do much to turn it back. So we've got to deal with it. We've got to deal with it in a way that's going to be spiritually beneficial to us. If we lose our temper, we get angry. If we end up becoming slaves to the passions because of other people's sins and passions, well, that's not going to help anybody, right? So you've got to always, whatever God allows, you've got to see it as a pedagogical moment to go deeper in your communion with God and to become better spiritually, to acquire the virtues. So no matter what evil is thrown at us, and if you lead the lives of the saints, there's a lot of evil thrown at the saints. Like, we're not suffering at all. Like, so I was telling somebody in an interview I did last night, which will come out in a few days. I should probably mention it, actually. It's going to come out on Z Media from Australia. I did a 2-hour interview about orthodoxy, so that'll come out in a few days. If you guys follow Z Media, I want to go there and check it out if you want to see the interview. But in any case, I was talking to them last night that, comparatively, what's the big suffering that, somebody like me is going to suffer? Oh, we're going to have people are going to call me names. They're going to do ad hominem. Okay, that's going on a long time now. How about they're going to deplatform us or something sometime? Yeah, okay. But if you really look at the lives of the saints and you compare what they suffered, which was unbelievable, torture, things that we can't even fathom because we're so pampered in so many ways, right? So if you just step back and put everything in perspective, I think you'll say, well, it's awful, it's terrible. I recognize the evil. I have a righteous kind of disdain for this sinister thing. I think that's hate sin. I mean, this is a sinful thing that's happening. It's an intentional destruction of countries, not just the United States. Again, it's all over the world. This is happening from the so-called first world countries. And there are a variety of reasons for that. But in any case, it's not something that is done by the inspiration of God. So you can hate that, but you've got to also deal with that God's allowing it. And there's something we need to learn, something we need to do in response that's going to help us to come closer to Christ. I mean, this life is very short. We might die tomorrow night. Are we gonna spend all of our energy on temporal machinations and not and waste our time? I mean, the devil would love for us to waste our lives on things that have no bearing in eternity. And so we've got to keep it all in perspective. It doesn't mean that these things aren't important. We shouldn't struggle for righteousness and for justice. I don't mean that at all. I wholeheartedly support people who, for instance, go and sit in front of abortion clinics like I did 30 years ago as a college student. I mean, helping people not kill their babies is a wonderful thing. But all kinds of actions like that, that are good for society and all that, those are good things, but you have to put them in a greater perspective. That's what a lot of people miss. Like, okay, that's not the essence of the spiritual life. It's not the essence of our life in Christ. We've got to see that as a part, but people make it the whole. So whatever is coming at you, whatever you're involved in on a horizontal plane, so to speak, remember all of that is passing and temporal, and all of that is a means to loving Christ. Yes, but there's a direct ascent that needs to happen. Like you and I need to ascend to as much as we can up the ladder of communion with God and the virtues. And so we're always, every day we wake up and say, okay, now I'm going to have this challenge. How am I going to handle it? Am I going to handle it prayerfully? Am I going to use it? Like the devil is constantly always trying to destroy us, but God, for those who are faithful, the Apostle Paul says, everything works for good. How does it work for good? Because they transform that. The devil brings it, and they think, oh, he's going to destroy me, and it turns out being for the benefit. But how does that happen? Through our humility, through our long suffering, our prayer. That's how those things become transformed and salvific. So it's in our hands to not be irate, angry for no reason, but to transform everything that's coming at us and make it salvific. And you'll help everybody, including yourself, when you do that. Probably won't help many if we sit and grit our teeth and scream at the television or whatever it is, right? That's not going to help. It's not going to help many people. So let's be smart and let's realize what's going on. And God's allowing it. He's going to allow a lot of things that we're going to say, God have mercy. Just now, today, I was told before we went live, in Greece, the parliament, I guess, passed the bill that will allow for same-sex recognition by the state of marriages for same-sex couples. That's unbelievable for Greek people. I guarantee you. All the faithful in Greece are just scratching their head going, what happened to us? How did we arrive at this insanity? Nobody would have thought that was going to happen 15 years ago, let alone 30, 50, 100. God's allowing it because of our apostasy, our own, collectively, right? Our sinfulness, our worldliness. And I mean meaning all the people, the church people, the bishops, the priests, everybody. Like we're collectively co-responsible for all of that. Our spiritual, ineptitude and weakness allows for the devil and his workers to get in there and do their thing. We're indifferent to truth. We don't want to sacrifice for the sake of the truth. So now that's happened, what are we going to do? We're going to angry and scream and yell, Greece is now apostate and Orthodox Greece is dead or whatever. I mean, we could do that. I don't see that. It's not going to be really profitable. So what are we going to do? We have to save ourselves. In other words, unite ourselves to God and become virtuous in the midst of all this, and be smart about it. Right? Be smart about it. All right. We're done actually. Unfortunately, I went on and on. There's a lot more questions. Let me just